You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 CTFM. We are coming to you from our studios in Accra. My name is Umaru Sandamadu here with Hawa Idrisu. Let's talk about what happened in Parliament yesterday and what the NPP side has started to get the House back. Before then, the party's Director of Communication, Richard Ahigbah, called a press conference and said what we saw in Parliament is part of a grand scheme by the NDC. How does he mean exactly? Richard, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Well, thank you.
What are you saying that the thing that we saw yesterday in Parliament is supposed to help the NDC win election 2024? How? What's the correlation?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners tomorrow. There's a clear parallel between what is happening and what has been happening since 2021, January 7th, and what is happening now in Parliament. If you look very closely at how the NDC has operated, there's a clear pattern of disruption and a deliberate attempt to make things difficult for the government, to make the country almost ungovernable in ways that the NDC imagines will benefit their political objective. And that is what the document I was speaking to today actually chronicles and directs the NDC to implement. So if you look at the document and you look at their behavior, there's a clear relationship which makes it evident that indeed the document is authentic and the NDC is busy implementing it. Now, what appears to be an open implementation of that project, which would be a bit, if you look by every standard, is egregious, is how the NDC assumed a position of majority. I don't know, if you correct me if I'm wrong, on the day, even when Speaker declared those seats vacant, Speaker didn't declare the NDC side as a majority as a result of that declaration, but somehow they have composed themselves into a majority without any such conferment on them. And I think that this is for them a last push. Whatever they have been doing in line with this document, the implementation from 2021 has not actually had the impact they had sought to have, because if you see today, the economy is doing well. The economy was their primary target. And a portion of that document, if you permit me, I'll read it for you as time goes on.
What's the title of the document? Who authored it?
Well, I'm not sure who authored it, and you know that a document like this, you're never going to find the name of the person who did it. But what I can tell you is a document which is classified.
Is a credible document?
Well, somebody has asked me that question, and Umaru, my honest answer is that if you look at the behavior of the NDC from 2021, how they have sought to disrupt and frustrate government business in Parliament, how they've always attempted to grandstand and push things to the limit, and the prescriptions in the document, there is a clear correlation, there's a clear pattern you can measure between their behavior and the prescriptions of the document. So for me, it is not so much about whether the document is authentic. It is to say that is the pattern of behavior we have observed from the NDC to date consistent with what the document is saying? And the answer is yes.
What other things are in the document that are yet to be implemented so we can mark the document or mark time?
Well, the balance of what is there is implemented, and I really focus on chapter 2 of the document, which lay out the framework for the disruption of government business, reckoning that the NDC has a near equal number in Parliament with a majority, which they purport to leverage and use that to disrupt the government. And if you look at the chapter 2 talks specifically about the disruption, but chapter 10 goes further to specifically name what to frustrate or what to disrupt, and that is to disrupt government's ability to raise revenue. And I find that very scary. And if you look at the particular conversation in 2020, 2022 with respect to the e-levy revenue measure that was proposed. If you look at the tax exemption bill that is before Parliament even now, with respect to some of these companies under the 1B1F scheme who has been seeking some tax breaks to be able to advance their investments. These things have been constrained, they have been disrupted, no work was done on them, and for the first time, Parliament went beyond 31st December in passing a budget in its full in its full measure. And that, for me, is consistent with what the document is saying and what the NDC has done in Parliament to date. And so I find that to be the centerpiece of the whole document, to say that let's make government unpopular, let's make the economy becomes harder, let's make Ghanaians suffer. Once Ghanaians are suffering, their recourse will be us, the NDC, and that is how devious the prescription is in the book.
Richard, how many chapters are in this book?
It's about 11 chapters.
How many pages?
I think somewhere around about 56 or so pages.
And what's the title of the document?
It is Winning 2024 and Beyond, a comprehensive NDC strategy.
Authored by no one.
Well, obviously somebody authored it, but you're not expecting the person to put their name by it if it's classified confidential document. And so,
and you have a copy.
Sorry.
And you have a
copy. Yes.
Where did you get it?
I can give you a copy if you need it.
Where did you get your copy from? Did you print it from your computer?
Yes, I printed it.
Which means you typed it out yourself and printed it out.
Well, I'm not sure you think that I would have typed this document. I didn't have enough time to do that. They did
you've had some time. You've been recovering for a while now. You've been idle. So I guess while you were there, you were busy typing an NDC plan and printing it out for them, no?
Maybe you think that if I have a legal case, I'll call you. But I'm not that risky yet.
But do you trust the content of the document?
Well, I mean, I don't see anything not to trust about it.
I see.
Because what the lived experience with the NDC in this term of Akufo-Addo, which started 2021, January 7th, is a classic rendition of what the book says.
I see.
Which yes, it's just a classic.
So you trust it?
Well, I can tell you this for sure. If I don't trust the book, I trust the behavior. What I have seen from the NDC is just a clone of what the book directs, and I think that it's authentic. I want to see the NDC come out and say it's not true. But even that, I don't expect them to come and say it is true. At any cost, they will say it's not true.
Did you see the?
But you can believe, Umaru.
Did you see the Ahigbah document?
Sorry?
Did you see the Ahigbah document?
I haven't seen it. I don't have a copy of it, but I've heard about it.
Do you believe it?
I haven't applied any effort to want to believe it, but if you ask me, I didn't give it too much credence.
So why should yours be given credence?
Well, I'm making a case that is a lived experience. I'm not making up anything. The NDC disrupt the 2022 budget the day. Were they calling ahead of time for Ghana to go for an IMF program?
Okay.
When in the book it says that they must create a situation that deprives the government of funding, okay, such that its only resort would be to go to the IMF.
So the NDC is the reason you went to IMF?
Well, if you want to, you can say so. There's a basis to do that rationalization to say that the NDC made conditions difficult such that you would have to go there. And the evidence is this, Umaru.
No. So the NDC was managing the economy and made things difficult. So you have no choice than to go to the
that's a simplistic way to put it. But what I can tell you, which is that NDC has significant presence in Parliament which led to their frustration of the revenue measure, the e-levy. And you know, the conversation around e-levy is not is not what the government want to do, but under the circumstance was a necessary measure to solve an immediate problem.
Very well.
The NDC frustrated that measure so that the projected 6.9 billion or so that was expected from the e-levy didn't come. And because they bastardized it after the bill got passed, he didn't realize the objective.
Very well. Thank you for speaking to us. That's Richard Ahigbah, Director of Communications of the governing New Patriotic Party. Let me speak to another